Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm going to give it just another minute for folks to join, and then we'll get started. All right. Whitney, you want to go? You want to start?
Let's do it.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Anna Hayes, and I am the Director of Global Health and Safety at Duke University by day. And then also by day, I am the Annual Conference Committee Poster Chair for the 2025 NAFSA Annual Conference. So I'm really happy to be welcoming you today. And I'm joined by the fabulous Whitney Longnecker. Whitney, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Whitney Longnecker, and I serve as the Director of Study Abroad at Texas Tech University. And as you'll hear about in a little bit, have also served as a poster fair organizer for many years. So happy to be here with you today and introduce this opportunity to you.
Thanks, Whitney. And thank you again all for being here to learn about this opportunity. So our agenda for today looks like a few things. So we'll talk about learning what the PFO responsibilities and qualifications are. We'll review timelines and qualifications. We'll connect with a past PFO with Whitney and then ask some questions. This is a really informal session. It shouldn't take all that long, but we want this to be a time for you to ask questions and to hopefully get you excited and interested in serving as a poster fair organizer for San Diego. So first, how many of you have attended a poster session before? We're going to do a quick little poll. So how many of you been to a poster fair before? This could be at NAFSA or not at NAFSA. Okay, I think we've got everybody who's responded. So it looks like most folks have attended a poster fair before, so that's great. And some of you have not yet, which is also great because now you have the magic of attending a poster fair for the first time ahead of you. So for those of you who have attended a poster fair before, I'd love for you to share in the chat like what you enjoy about a poster fair, what's been your favorite thing about that. But those of you who haven't will learn that posters are a really great blend of networking and presenting because you have the opportunity to have one-on-one discussions on the presented topics that you're choosing. People choose to come up to you and you can have that one-on-one, really engaging networking conversation. I know I've made a lot of connections when being a poster presenter before, or even just attending a poster fair before. And you get really like amazing visuals of model practices and programs through poster fairs. It's such I love seeing people's creativity with how they choose to visualize what they're presenting on. It's a unique blend that you don't necessarily get from sessions or workshops. And Whitney says in the chat that she loves the opportunity to engage with speakers as well as a variety of topics presented. Absolutely. And talking to attendees in a closer way than a regular presentation. Absolutely. Those are things that I also enjoy about posters. So we'll go on to the next slide. Okay, so what does it mean to be a poster fair organizer? So we'll talk a little bit more about posters here in a minute, but really as a poster fair organizer, you should be familiar with the content for one of the poster fair themes, and we'll talk about those themes here in just a little bit. You will have a co-PFO that you'll work with, so you're not doing this by yourself. For one of the themes, it's you and a partner. You also have amazing resources through NAFSA with Maria and Michelle. You'll promote posters and recruit poster fair reviewers. So we do reviews a little bit differently than you do workshop or session proposals, whereas like you as a poster fair organizer are recruiting reviewers for your poster fair theme. It's you need 4 additional reviewers for your theme, so split between you and your co-PFO. That's only 2 other people you're finding to review your poster theme. You'll review the poster proposals and select poster presentations. You'll provide tips, tricks, and guidance on guidance to poster presenters on presenting at the conference. And then we'll have some on-site tasks as well as like greeting your poster presenters and helping with setup and takedown. So qualifications, really, we're not like holding you to like, a really like rigorous schedule here or anything or qualifications, but at least having 3 years in the field of international education, which can include graduate school, with demonstrated knowledge of the specified theme that you apply for. So networks in the field to help support proposal and reviewer recruitment process. Attendance at a previous NAFSA annual conference is preferred, a strong preference for previous poster presenters, but that's not saying you can't be a PFO if you haven't attended a poster fair or been a presenter before. And then also excellent analytical and communication skills, because there's a lot of communicating that you have to do between the poster presenters and with your NAFSA team as well. So key dates so that you can keep these in mind as you're thinking about whether to commit to being a poster fair organizer. So the applications are live now, or should be live now. The deadline is Thursday, October 31st at 12 p.m. Eastern US time. And then it's a quick turnaround because we've got a PFO orientation training in November. The poster deadline is going to be Thursday, December 5th at 5 p.m. again, Eastern time. We already have about 30 proposals already, which is wild considering the deadline's not for another like 2 months. So that's exciting. We expect to have a lot more than that come December 5th. The deadline to recruit those additional reviewers is going to be Tuesday, December 10th. And then the review period, you'll have a month. It is during the holidays, but you'll have a month to review them and with your co-PFO and your other reviewers to get those looked at for your theme. And then the selection period. So at this point, you and your co-PFO will have all the scores from all the reviewers for the posters in your theme, and you will take a look and select which ones you want to select and which ones you don't. And that will end Friday, January 31st. So those are key dates. Now, here are the poster themes for this year. So if you've attended poster fairs before, some of these will look familiar. There are ones that are kind of evergreen that we consistently have really strong proposals for. But there's a couple, there's some new ones, specifically looking at uses of AI and technology in international education is a new one for us. We've also got community engagement in international education. That was a new one as of last year, which we had a lot of poster presentations for. Facilitating teaching and learning, increasing diversity, equity, and inclusion, international education research and assessment, internationalizing the campus, model practices and insights in education abroad, model practices in international enrollment management, international student and scholar services, risk prevention and crisis response in international education, sustainability in international education, and updates on country and regional higher education. And there are descriptions for all of those themes available on the NAFSA posters website, which you can find linked there. And when you apply to be a poster fair organizer, you'll select one or two that you're interested in being the PFO for, and based on who applies and what our pool looks like, we'll assign you based on what preferences you've put on your application. Okay, so how to apply? Go to nafsa.org/volunteer and scroll down to the advanced community section and click on Annual Conference and Expo. And click on the poster fair organizer link and apply. The application process is not too intensive. So it should be something you can kind of knock out in an afternoon. And again, apply by that October 31st deadline. If you have questions about the application, you can always reach out to me or to the NAFSA staff at posters@nafsa.org if you have any issues there. Right. Oh, thanks, Michelle, for putting in the direct link. And now we're just gonna, Maria, if you wouldn't mind stopping sharing your screen. So now we're going to talk with Whitney, who, as she mentioned, has been a PFO for many years. So Whitney, do you want to introduce yourself again and maybe talk a little bit about how you got involved with posters?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So as we were preparing for this session, I had to think back, okay, how long have I served as a PFO? Because it's just really kind of become ingrained in my cycle of work, and I've loved this volunteer opportunity, and I hope that you all will come to love it as well. So I've worked and studied abroad for several years. And actually, my first presentation that I ever gave at a national NAFSA conference was through a poster session. And so having that experience and just being able to personally experience some of those benefits that folks put into the chat and that Anna was describing about the connection and network opportunities, and being able to collaborate and communicate with other attendees in a different way really stuck with me after being part of that poster session. And so when I found out about this opportunity to serve as a poster fair organizer, it made total sense for me to submit the application and serve in this volunteer role. And I think some of those same benefits that I received as a poster presenter are also pertinent for the PFO role as well. So there's a really great opportunity for that network and connection with your fellow PFOs. And being able to kind of build that review team is another way to deepen your relationships and partnerships with your fellow reviewers and collaborate in a new or different way. So I've really enjoyed this opportunity to kind of give back and stay engaged with NAFSA and be able to provide those same benefits and opportunities that I personally experienced as a poster presenter to others in the field now as well.
Great. So I think you answered my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway in case you have something else you want to add. But what keeps you coming back year after year, serving in this way to contribute to the annual conference?
Yeah, so aside from the connections and the additional networking opportunities, one thing that really stands out for me is being able to keep a pulse on the field. So I know that conference attendance is sometimes challenging. Unfortunately, professional development budgets seem to always be the first that get cut or just are non-existent for one reason or another. And that very well may be the case at your institution. And so you may not have the opportunity to travel as frequently as you would like to NAFSA conferences, including the annual conference. And so I think one of the great advantages of serving as a PFO and being able to review the submissions for the poster fairs is that you really get to stay up to date on the who's who of the field, the conversations that are happening, what folks are thinking about, those hot topics, things of that nature. And so it's a really great way to keep that pulse, even if you're not able to personally attend the conferences and experience it firsthand. So I think that engagement is another piece of this that maybe folks don't think about right offhand, but is a good way to stay connected, regardless of your ability to do so in person.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great reason, Whitney. So we talked about key dates earlier, and thinking about what the PFO like responsibilities look like. How has that workload worked for you, for lack of a better word? How have you balanced that?
So the great thing about this opportunity is that you're not in it alone. So there's a lot of really good resources and connections that NAFSA provides, and you're also working with your fellow PFO and review team to kind of move through this process. So I think because of that, it really makes the workload quite manageable. It really has never felt to me that this has been like a heavy lift in any way, shape, or form. NAFSA does a really great job of providing direction, frequent updates, and keeping the lines of communication open. And as we've seen in the session already today, kind of the time frame for this process is already outlined, so you can plan ahead and know what to expect as we move through this opportunity. And then I think also I think like with anything, this opportunity is what you make of it. So if you have the time to commit and really get connected with your fellow review team and analyze every single one of the posters, like I think that's great and it makes for a really great poster fair. But also there may be times that come up when you're not able to commit quite to that level, but still be engaged, and that's okay too. So, so I think as long as you're fulfilling the responsibilities of the role, NAFSA, does a really good job of keeping you on track and helping work through that process, so it's not a huge burden in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, absolutely. NAFSA tries to make it as easy as possible for folks. And one of the things I love most about being a PFO, because I was a PFO before I became the poster chair, is oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. It just left. Wow. Oh, this is a micro, sorry, this is a micro volunteer opportunity and a micro way to give back to the annual conference committee without taking on like a huge responsibility or chunk of work. So like you said, it's manageable when you have the dates outlined and given like what you have going on in your other professional life, you can balance it out pretty easily, I think, while still making like really a meaningful contribution to the annual conference.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Just fulfilling the requirements of the volunteer opportunity, it makes that meaningful contribution. So, so yeah, it's an easy way to get involved.
Yeah, and it can be a good stepping stone. If you want to get involved in other things, it can also just be one that you just keep doing because you love it. And it's easy to kind of rinse and repeat. So yeah, so at that point, we want to open it up for questions from attendees. If you have questions for Whitney about what it's like to be a PFO, for myself or the NAFSA staff about any of the responsibilities that we've outlined, really, we just want to help you get excited about this. And if there are no questions, that's great too. Yeah, thanks, Whitney. I recognized a few names on the here as well, so happy to have you join us again. Okay. In that case, I'm going to drop my email address in the chat. If you have other questions that come up, don't hesitate to reach out as you start, you may be working on your application or considering it more seriously. Please reach out and let me know. I'm happy to chat with you, answer any questions you might have over email. You can also reach out to our wonderful NAFSA partners, or Whitney. Whitney just added her email address too. Thanks, Whitney. And yeah, well, this session's been recorded and we will post it on the NAFSA Poster Fair Organizer website. So if you want to go back and refer to anything, you can do that as well. Otherwise, thank you all for attending. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.